after the recording started, and then I will be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
Attackers incoming.
All right.
That's
Defend
teamwork.
objective A. Patience.
Barrier activated.
My barrier is destroyed.
All right, let's rewatch this for half a second. So, going back here, if we see or hear this Hanzo, preferably here or here because we can't actually see him. There's a Hanzo that comes like right up to this doorway here, this window, who we probably could be diving, which would be more effective than trying to go up to the choke and duel the tanks, which we're probably not likely to be able to kill. So maybe we're just making sure we're keeping our ears open, because going for the Hanzo there would probably be easy to do. Then we go and we drop our bubble here at choke, which means that now if we were to dive something, which we do in a second, we don't actually have bubble to work with. So that's something to keep in mind, is that if we're trying to dive here like 2 seconds after we're poking, right, like we only stay here for like 3 seconds, and I didn't really look as though we needed bubble because we still have all of our health left and whatnot. Then we can probably just immediately dive in onto the map. And then it would have been good if we had that bubble there so that we are able to stay alive through this. Now we end up, it looks like we jump off of the high ground onto them, which maybe isn't even necessary because we could just sit up here. And then that's also the big thing, is that keeps us out of range of the Reinhardt, and then also means that McCree can't shoot us. So here we just kind of drop from this high ground unnecessarily, and then that makes us an easier target to kill, and which isn't very good for us.
I've reached the objective. Let's coordinate our efforts.
Yeah, though it was a good idea to disengage there for a second.
Teamwork.
Oh, I like the short jump. Very nice. Alright, so overall, it worked out.
I'm operating at optimal levels.
New defense point. Objective B.
Sniper, be careful.
No one can hide unless.
Very nice kill. Good dive.
Pardon.
Okay, good juggling. Left a little past him, unfortunately. So, we did good on the Mercy there, but then we kind of messed the mechanics up a little bit on the BAP, right? So here, we whack him, and then just the short jump is appropriate, but we do a long jump, and then we go like sailing past them, and then we kind of lose track. We accidentally hit the wall there when we're jumping, so we just mess up the mechanics a little bit with it, but that's you know, that's of course obvious. That's something that you can just keep looking to practice. Right. We didn't notice Widowmaker here, even though she was up on the high ground, so we just make sure, again, like, kind of paying attention to our surroundings, because I believe there... Do we see her shoot? Yeah, we hear her shoot. We see the bullet trail as well. We can hear her walking around up there, so just make sure we're keeping our, especially, again, our ears open and listening, because we can't really see her too well up there. There's not a lot of visual cues, but we can especially hear just her shooting, her walking around, possibly our teammates shooting at her. So just paying attention to that, and then that can stop her from dropping and contesting, which can possibly mean that you even cap here before anyone else is able to touch. Alright, overall, even though there were maybe a couple of things that, like, you know, could have been slightly more efficient, the first round was very, very good. And the biggest thing that I liked was that we dictated the pacing of each engagement, noting that we went in first, we ulted first, both of these points, and we got aggressive. We maintained that kind of that control over the tempo of the fight, and then that worked out really well for us. So you were constantly on the offensive, getting aggressive, and that put them kind of backpedaling and just ultimately at the disadvantage. So that worked really well for us. That's what you should be hopefully looking to do in your games.
Attack. Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Hello there.
Ready for battle. 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Consider if you know that you're going to be. I'm trying to think here. So, consider starting off like maybe like up here on their high ground, because then what you can do is just poke at them from up top, or even drop and poke and then just leap back to your team, just making sure we don't get caught in anything, right? Either just straight through the doorway here or even over top through the window. So we can just drop, get some easy damage to begin with, create some easy space, and then get back. That'd be one thing that I would maybe be looking to do, and then that just gets us onto their back line, rather than just kind of poking at their tanks to begin with. But it's not. That's again, it's kind of an efficiency thing, not anything super major.
Very hot.
I actually never thought of that.
All right, let's rewatch this for a second. So, firstly, they come through. We don't seem to notice that Roadhog hooks Reinhardt here, because we probably should be focusing Reinhardt, not D.Va, right? Like, if we see Reinhardt gets hooked into your team, and Roadhog's looking at Reinhardt, and your McCree's looking at Reinhardt, D.Va probably shouldn't be our focus, because we want to have focused fire. We want to all be looking at the same thing. When everybody looks at the same thing, they die very fast. When everybody's all looking at different things, then they die very slowly, because everyone's just doing very little tickle damage, right? So here focusing Reinhardt, if we leap over and get on top of Reinhardt, we can bubble, and then that cuts him off from his team. That stops them from being able to heal him, right? So that's just all ways that we could be looking to kill Reinhardt here. But we do go after D.Va. We plop down bubble here, which doesn't really accomplish anything at all, right? It's not, we have in the past gone over all the different reasons why we use bubble. This doesn't accomplish anything, right? No one's low, no one's in danger. We're not getting aggressive. We're not playing defensive. We're not blocking abilities. We're not blocking ultimates. We're not necessarily even in a duel with D.Va at the moment. We're not cutting her off from healing, and she's not really taking any damage anyways, or like this wouldn't even cut her off really if she just moves slightly to the side. So ultimately here, not really doing very much. So the bubble as well could be better. Again, so far, nothing major. These are just things that can make your gameplay more efficient and smooth, and will ultimately all add up to better gameplay. Here, though, this is where we may begin to some issues, is that we come up here to duel the D.Va, we get whacked by Reinhardt, and then we don't request healing at all, which is one note, because then we don't receive healing when we don't request healing. It means that our supports don't know where we are, that we are low HP, and we also go and yeah, the main thing is that we just like don't have any team support, and we don't request healing, and maybe could have dropped off sooner rather than leaping so deep up here. We could have leapt closer to an edge so we could drop off sooner. Or we also have the option of grabbing the health pack. So we don't want to be just jumping straight into the middle, because if we jump straight onto the middle, like right here or where we are, right, then we're far away from the health pack, or far away from dropping, versus if we were to, come over here, we can drop very fast. Over here, we can drop very fast. Over here, we can go and grab the health pack fast, right? But we decide not to do any of those options, and that just means that D.Va mows us down. Additionally, if you're low and you're just trying to run away from somebody, I would recommend turning around, because that's going to mean that they can't headshot us. And then additionally, you have a faster movement speed when you're walking forwards than when you're backpedaling and walking backwards.
Widowmaker. I'm back in the fight.
Okay, maybe not a bubble needed, but it's also just the end of the fight, so it's honestly does not. I don't think matters a ton, though. Keep in mind that so just look at this where, we come up here, probably don't need bubble because Widowmaker's 1 HP and purpled, and you're not necessarily about to die. I guess you could think that you're about to die, but I think that you're safe enough here with 200 and Mercy's about to heal us in half a second. But then we probably want this bubble in a second here when we dive the Reaper and Ana, right? We're maybe not gonna have the best of times trying to duel those two without a bubble.
Pardon me.
My ultimate is ready. Go to sleep. I've got you.
Go chase that kill down. Right, we kind of let her get away for free when she's 1 HP right here and the fight's already over. Right, so go get that stagger kill. Demech her and then just leave her demeched, and then that just buys your team extra time. And then it makes it out for free.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard. Heroes never die.
Nano boost administered.
Come on, taking damage.
Alright, let's rewatch this fight for half a second here. So we come in here, we help out, we kill Reaper, all fine and dandy. So we jump in here, we go over to D.Va. We've been on D.Va quite a bit here. Keep in mind that that we're maybe focusing her in scenarios and she's the wrong target priority, because here there's a sleeping Reinhardt who is very low HP, and then we decided to go on the D.Va instead. Let's see, what was his health bar when we decided to dive the D.Va, right? So I guess when we did leap, Reinhardt was full HP, but at the same time you also have a greater chance of being able to kill him because he is slept and he doesn't have a movement ability to just immediately fly away from you, right? And you have your teammates looking at him, so you get focus fire on him as well, whereas D.Va's off in that corner, so who's going to be looking at D.Va, right? So all those things, they probably focus Reinhardt. Now we do go on D.Va and then she flies away, as I just mentioned. Then we decide to primal here when the fight is won, which is an issue, right? We come up here, but oopsie, only 2 people left on their team, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 2, and we have close spawns and Valk, right? So, and Whole Hog, right? Oh no, sorry, that's not a Whole Hog. It looked like it for a second. So overall, make sure we're keeping our eye on the kill feed. But again, that's already stuff that you know. But that is a bigger mistake here. Stagger, don't kill her here. You don't want to kill her there. You want to leave Baby D.Va. So the reason why you want to be leaving Baby D.Va is because that staggers her. You're familiar with the term staggering, I am sure. Right? Staggering. It's just it means that they are going to have a decision to make. Right? When you leave one person, they have a decision to make. Either one, they wait for the said person and they lose a bunch of time, or they go in without said person, and then now they're at a disadvantage for that fight, right? Staggering can start stagger trains, which means that you stagger Baby D.Va, then one random person decides to walk in, and you stagger that person, and then 2 people decide to walk in, and you kill those people. So that is and then it keeps going over and over and over again, right? So overall, staggering is very good for you guys because it means that you waste bunch of time and win a bunch of fights just by having some discipline with it. So that we could have staggered D.Va earlier, and then here we could also stagger her again. What you want to do is Baby D.Va. Baby D.Va's not going to be able to do anything to you, right? Baby D.Va's not going to kill you. She does not have the damage to kill you. If she gets remech, all we have to do is just kill her instantly. If we have our entire team here, all we have to do is just kill her or kill her before she remechs. You can kill her before or after, and either or works. Just avoid getting smushed. And then what this does is it means that Baby D.Va has to run to for her to die, right? She can't do anything. For her to die, she would have to run all the way over to the edge and jump off. Or her team can try to come in and save her, in which case now you just kill. Then when you kill her and then go and look at the team, and then now they're down a player. So overall, like this just puts them in a very hard situation where they can't really do very much. Here you could probably body block her too a little bit, like if you're your whole team stuffer. But overall, um, probably want to stagger Baby Diva. The very easy stagger Baby Diva. Mercy's another character who can stagger. You also don't have to worry about feeding her ult charge because if she's Baby Diva, all she's getting is mech. She's not getting her ultimate, right? So 2 opportunities to stagger Diva means that you could, with that time, you probably could have won an entire, like that amount of time you could have staggered Diva this game so far probably could have saved you an entire fight, right? That you could have just won an entire fight off of that. Possibly even 2 fights if you staggered her long enough there.
You should be at peak performance levels.
Okay. I think we got slightly so here I'm not, it's possible we don't know hogs there, in which case just make sure you are keeping your ears open, but it's also possible that we got slightly impatient and rather than letting them walk out a little bit further, we got baited to walk into this choke, which isn't very good for us because it's this very close enclosed corridor versus a Reinhardt, 2 characters with shotguns, right? When we're monkey and we probably don't want to be getting this close to them, like especially not like when it's not their sport. So we probably want to bait them in a little bit further and look how that pretty much almost kills us. Like we honestly could have died there. So probably not the play to run in there. Let them walk through that choke point and get further spread out so that you can actually dive something rather than trying to run in and brawl them because you are not a brawl character as Reinhardt. Or not, sorry, as Reinhardt. You're not a brawl character as Monkey.
It's only physics. Excuse me for dropping in.
Possibly could have gone and cut off Ana here if we were paying attention to the fact that Roadhog just hooked her, right? Just leap in there and then that's a pretty easy kill.
Excuse me for dropping in.
You're powered up. Get in there.
I'm feeling unstoppable. This will protect us.
Nap time.
Okay. During this fight, it seems as though we got a little bit distracted or we didn't notice that the fight was starting, and then by the time we turn around, they've already gotten a kill and a shatter, and they're already ulting, right? So they've just attained all this space, and we didn't really notice it. So we kind of give them that space as the main tank for free. So make sure we're paying attention to what our team's doing. Additionally, we get our ultimate and it's not, I don't think it's a terrible thing that we're up here because there's not, like, we don't see anybody else to go for, so it's fine. But we do spend a very large extended period of time looking and shooting at their tanks, and then this means that we just don't really accomplish very much, right? When we maybe could see, oh snap, it's a coalescing Moira, a Reinhardt, and a Roadhog. What the heck am I gonna do as Monkey to them, right? We go probably nothing. We turn around and we dive Ana, right? Who we can kill. Probably not we possibly could go Reaper since like if we had our bubble available, which we do, I think there. just because again, Reaper's probably easier to kill than like a coalescing Moira, because of her self healing, and then yeah. Besides that, if Widowmaker comes closer, we can also kill her. But just there wasn't a lot we could have done there, and then we're still on Roadhog. So we just spent a lot of time on their tanks.
Further experimentation required.
Alright, our team wins it. I don't even know what they did, but we did it.
Weapon system optimized.
Heroes never die.
Good target acquisition. Maybe comes a little bit late. We probably should have swapped off of Sigma a little bit faster, because once again we're looking at their tanks quite a little bit this game. Notice that like when we're actually looking at those squishy targets is when we're actually getting those kills.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Piece of
Nice.
damage boost engaged.
Probably could have leapt from here up to the high ground, either leaping. Oh, maybe we thought we heard somebody on point and we were diving for a contest. Okay, I think Lucio touched, and then we were looking for whoever was contesting, possibly. But possibly could have
Yeah.
just dove straight back up to high ground. Okay, good bubble. That was just blocking a lot of damage. Probably could dive Soldier very easily there. Soldier's gonna be a much easier target to kill than a Reaper, right? You're not really the best character to be contesting a Reaper unless you had like Nano Boost or something of that sort, because he can just farm. Like, I mean, as you probably know, he can just farm you very easily, and then you're not gonna be able to do very much damage because of his self healing. So probably not the best character to be looking at. And then we end up just not being on the right targets during this fight. Okay, now we do recover it slightly, just going on that Reaper initially screwed with us.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, good target acquisition there.
I sense a pattern.
Alright, overall, you played excellently in this game, right? You really controlled the pacing of everything that was happening. There of course were just still things that could have been better. You could have been more efficient. There were, we could have staggered them. We could, there's one fight where we where we used our ultimate when we didn't need it, and there were times that we were on the wrong targets. But overall, it was a really good game, and I would say that like, if that's what your gameplay looks consistently, it looks like you have been doing a really good job of implementing all the things that we were talking about, because I did notice like a lot of the things that we have been talking about, such as like knowing when and how to engage and soft dive and hard dive, and just in general all those different things and concepts. All you were short jumping with fluently, right? And our primals looked, for the most part, they looked like you were um tracking and you knew what was happening, and you were juggling people pretty well. There were like I think the main one was like sometimes we were like on the opposite side of the map from people we were trying to get to with our primals, so that ended up wasting a lot of it. But overall, really good. We still have 13 minutes left here. Would you like to go over another one?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna do. I guess I'm trying to think of which one I should do. I have 2 losses from today. Might as well do one of those.
Mm-hmm.
This one. All right. Let me just send it in Discord.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I have it up.
Traveling to Volskaya Industries. Ready for battle.
I think I played both Winston and Zarya in this one.
5.
Okay.
Defend objective A.
So let me think here. In this scenario, this is another one where you can maybe do this, where you can potentially, to start it off, you just have to make sure that you're being careful about it, because this is the thing that sometimes you can be more aggressive, but it's also more dangerous. But as long as you're careful, you get value out of it without dying. So here you could just start off on this high ground behind them, and then if they have anybody, like, I would say it's fairly common for Hanzo, Echo, Pharah, Widow to just climb up and up to here, where you can maybe even get a kill on them and duel them and then get out. And then all you have to do is just jump out of this all the way over here, and then you're good. Or if nobody comes up to high ground, you can just wait till they get below you, poke at them from above, and then once you feel pressured, then you can jump back to your team. Um, so as long as you're not dropping into the middle of all of them, you're not getting stunned or hooked or etc., and you're just being watchful of your health bar, you should be fine. And then that just opens up for some earlier distraction, some more earlier ult charge, some an extra round of soft diving, right? If you're just engaging there versus engaging like here at the choke and just playing as if you were like a Reinhardt. So that's again another option there. Same as the last map, you just have to be careful that you're not killing yourself with it.
The enemy
Hmm.
approaches.
Usually, when a Reinhardt does that, I always just call out, "Punish the Rhine, punish the Rhine."
So that's definitely good. Ana unfortunately gets pinned by it, and then your whole team gets low. Possibly could have dove in after him sooner there. We were a little bit delayed to dive in, which doesn't do. It just means that we end up not getting that jump damage on him.
Barrier up.
This is not
Excuse me for dropping.
All right. Honestly, your team kind of just fell apart against that. Don't know if there's a ton we could have done. Possibly in that situation, it might be more appropriate to think. Sometimes you got to think about it in this sense of, what if rather than chasing after Reinhardt, we go and we contest the choke, and we stop the 5 other players from just walking in for free and taking space, because now they don't have a main tank. So if you send your main tank up front and keep them at bay, even if that's for 10, I don't know, like 7 seconds or so, right? Then that can possibly give your team time to kill Reinhardt and then get back to you and help you out. So that's an option to consider there. Then that rather than chasing Reinhardt, you look to create space in that sense. So that's something to consider. I don't necessarily think that it would have guaranteed a fight win though.
New defense point. Objective B.
Barrier activated.
I'm taking care of you.
Okay. No, they were just kind of letting Reinhardt walk in, and then we're just Teslaing Reinhardt, so we're like just maybe not on the right target there. Now Reinhardt does get isolated from his team because his team doesn't really walk in with him, but we're also acquiring him as kind of our first target, and rather than thinking of maybe like diving in on anything, we kind of just like sit here and kind kind of phase tank Reinhardt, but that's fine because their team ends up backing up. So I guess the play becomes much more acceptable because their team decides to not push with him.
Natural selection.
So I wouldn't say that was anything major.
I think one of the reasons why I stopped playing Reinhardt is because my team would never walk in with me. That's always just frustrating.
Yeah.
I need healing.
Huh.
You should be at peak performance level.
If you're coming up on this line gun, use this left and right side cover rather than just like sitting behind this little thing that you're too fat for, right? Probably just be much better if you're like over here. Now we were trying to fetch the Mercy, but after we got Mercy, probably didn't need to be there.
Excuse me for dropping. Excuse me for dropping in.
I would just make sure keeping an eye on this because this might be a recipe for a lot of boop kills if their whole team is over there. So keep an eye on that. Possibly could have. I mean, like I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because we could Tesla Lucio here and kill him as well. But possibly as well could have dropped and tried to boop those guys off. All right,
Did
see
boot
like
the Ana off.
Roadhog got the Ana. There. Yeah. Good idea to go and focus those guys since they're out of position and they didn't have their team with them. Though we do end up getting killed anyways here. Yeah, we kind of get storm arrowed.
Heroes never die.
It's possible we could have tried to run for cover as an option there. In general, it is more difficult to run Monkey on defense.
Oh no, I agree.
Defense matrix activated. I'm under attack.
This will protect us. Hello there.
Kind of long, like far disengaging when we didn't need to there.
My Ana was yelling at me. Yo, Banshee, where'd you go? They told me to jump in.
It does become very difficult sometimes when people are saying things like that because I totally get you. Sometimes I fall for that too. Don't listen to bad play calls because they're not. When people make calls, they're not always good calls. So here, when they're telling you to jump in when you don't have your bubble yet, that's an issue, right? Because you are 2 seconds away from it. Additionally, notice that we can jump from all the way back here and get up immediately. We don't need to walk closer and then jump. We walk closer and then jump, and then that gives them so much time to shoot at us because we look at our health bar here. We're from behind cover, right? So we're behind cover, 400 health. We walk and then right like as we're jumping, we lose like 130, right, or something like that. So just know that we could have jumped from further away and used cover more, and then we also probably should have just wait. If we just wait an extra 2 seconds, or 1 second, we have our bubble as we're jumping up in here, and then that means that we're able to actually negate a lot of that damage.
Get through this.
Healing in
Very hot.
You should be at peak performance.
Forward shield. Get through this.
Okay, Brian was getting a little bit aggressive there, and we just kind of looked past it, right? So like he's running forwards here on our Ana, and then we like look to the side and get distracted. Whereas here we can just be short diving Reinhardt, plopping them bubble. Now whoa, he can't get healing anymore, and then that's a free kill on Reinhardt, right? As your whole entire team focuses him. So keep your eyes open, right? That's an awareness thing because we aren't paying attention to that, but it's a free kill. And we also leap past the Reinhardt because we don't short jump there. Right, we end up just going straight past Reinhardt onto the Diva when Reinhardt's 1 HP. So it's a free kill that we let get away.
Now you are the endangered species.
Whereas if we get that, now we're actually up a player here.
Forward shield.
I'm claiming this objective.
Um,
I'm claiming.
That's actually just really well played by the Diva. I don't even know if I would be thinking about that. If you're thinking about it, and you think that you might get booped off, consider, in this situation, you can consider being more so like on this side so that you can't get booped off of the high ground. You can stay closer to this side rather than so close to the middle or the edge. And we do just get booped really far. I don't know if we jump or something there. I guess it's just the momentum that carries us.
I'm taking the point.
Defense matrix activated.
It's only physics. Use me for.
Okay, here we probably could just use our leap for the extra damage, or like right here we should just be doing a short jump just to do extra damage to these guys since we know that Baptiste is so low. We kind of delay on that jump.
Use me for.
Wrong target, I guess once we see that she remechs, of course you're fine to try to go and catch her before she remechs, but after that point it was just the wrong target to be on.
I'm claiming this objective.
Alright, so we go and we kill Hanzo. We leap back to the point.
I seem to have lost my temper. I'm claiming this objective.
Yeah.
Get in there. Give me your best shot.
Okay, so in this situation, Reinhardt just kind of charges straight into the middle of their team.
Get in there.
After he attempts to land the shatter, we bubble him as he's getting aggressive. We're pushing, watch that range as we're out of range and we're trying to beam people. And then that just ends up not doing anything, so that's where we should just be reloading.
Give me your best shot.
Wrong target, right? Again, target. We spend way too much of this game on their tanks, and we have in the past, right? I'm 90% sure we've gone over target priority before, right?
Yeah.
I was just saying, in general, spending too much time on our tanks. Ana walks straight past us, right? Ana walks like 2 inches away from us, and we are shooting at the Reinhardt. Right, it's like Ana's right here, and we just keep looking at the Ryan. So just wrong target, and then that means that we're not able to actually get that kill. Right, still on Ryan. Okay, so Reinhardt's fighting. Good bubble, good bubbles. Okay, got a kill. So yep, just as the reminder with target priority, right? It is you shoot at the easiest things to kill, unless unless you can't shoot at them, right? Unless the tanks are in your face and they're in the way and you can't get around them. You can shoot at the non-easy things to kill if you have opportunities, like they're low or out of position, right? Like there, Reinhardt's just out of position, so you can shoot at him all day, right? And then there's also sometimes you have higher, like a target is going to have a very high value in comparison to other characters, so you might want to focus down even if they're harder. So think, for example, if you know that somebody has an ultimate, right? So like if, for example, you know, you're coming into the fight and they have a nano blade, right? And Genji might not be the easiest target on their team to kill, but you don't want them to use nano blade. You want to kill him first, so you focus on the Genji to kill him first, right? That's a situation where you can do that, right? So there's situations like that, but other than that, we just spend a lot of time on their very difficult things to kill. Okay, watch this for half a second. So we shoot. No need to kill lamp if they're not in lamp, right? So both of those guys walk out of lamp, so we can probably just start shooting at them, but we do get booped, so that's not a big deal. Bubble Reinhardt there. We're a little bit, but Ryan, that just cleanses his purple, and then also just gets you, helps him out since he's in the middle of brawling and swinging, and gets you up to 100 energy. Whereas no one's really looking at Moira.
Surrender to my will.
Okay. Yeah.
I claim this objective.
Rotate over towards your Reinhardt. I think we possibly like just panic there a little bit.
Yeah, it was at that point where I admitted defeat once that diva bomb went off.
Yeah.
Forgive and forget, like snow from yesterday. Forgive and forget, like snow
Ready for
from
battle.
yesterday.
Don't go back.
Forgive and forget.
Okay. I don't. How much have we actually gone over Zarya before?
None.
None. Okay. So bubbles so far have been looking pretty good, though there's not all of them have been fantastic. In general, you use bubbles when you're looking for energy. You use bubbles when people are looking and shooting at you, in general, I guess I don't even need to say for energy, right? You use it when people are looking at you and people are shooting at you because that's when you actually get energy from it. That's when you get tanking from it. Here we jump down and it was after people were shooting at us. So people, Pharah shooting at us here, and then we bubble afterwards without really checking. But we do get some out of it. Then we bubble Reinhardt, but Reinhardt's in the middle backing up, and nobody can really even like see him. He's not in the middle swinging. Probably is going to be much better to bubble him when he's like closer in, getting more aggressive, because here we just bubble him when he's backing out, and then that means that bubble doesn't really do very much at all.
Огонь по готовности.
Okay. Rather than bubbling these two tanks, I would bubble not bubble, grab. Rather than grabbing the two tanks, I would grab over on the Baptiste as well, because then that gets Baptiste, who is a squishy. Again, squishies even within grab. I mean, not even with, maybe even especially within grab, is a higher priority than I think. Additionally, Reinhardt's 1 HP, where can he back up to if you have a grab? So that forces him to either stay forwards inside of your team, or he has to walk backwards into the grab, right? In which case you get 3 people, not 2 people. So here we can just throw it behind them here at the Baptiste as well, rather than on top of these two.
Double gravity kill.
Triple kill.
Barrier activated. Get in
Yeah,
there.
good bubble.
I am on fire.
That soldier was so annoying during that game.
Yeah, he seems as though he's been doing a lot.
Barriers on you.
Okay. Moira's not really having anybody looking at her, anybody shooting at her. She's a mile away, right? So Moira's not really going to be getting any bubble value here. But Reinhardt's in the middle brawling, right? Reinhardt probably would like that bubble. And now he's purple, so in 1 HP, so he probably liked that bubble.
Ready for battle. That's more like it.
And then we actually get bubble back, but we're not looking at him, so make sure we're paying attention to our Reinhardt's health bar there, his danger level.
Take cover. Go. I am taking the objective. Reinforce this position.
Okay. This scenario, probably I'd pressure the Baptiste because if you look at the ball, then Baptiste heals ball, and then ball's a tank. He's hard to kill. He's just gonna keep on rolling around, and you're not gonna be able to really do very much to him. If you focus the Baptiste and you kill Baptiste, or you just push him away, then that means that ball doesn't get healing. Then you can focus ball next, right? So yep, there we go. We swap. It's just a little bit delayed, and then we actually kill him fairly fast, right? Look how fast we kill him there. We just were a little bit slow on that swap.
Get in there. An expedient solution.
We also, once again, we bubble the Lucio when nobody's shooting at him. Okay, note that we do not have any teammates on point with us, and we're just sitting smack dab in the middle of the point, no cover at all. Might be the point in time, or like just probably like 5 seconds ago or so, or 3 seconds ago, we probably should have been backing up to like over here, where now we have cover to work with. We are much closer to our team where they can heal us, and we're not standing smack dab in the middle of the open, right? And then that ends up getting us killed. Alright. So I think we're wrapping up soon here, so let's hop into the review portion. Go over all the main points. So we went over Zarya as well as Monkey. So we Monkey and Zarya. So Winston. Bubble usage, make sure we're not just kind of plopping it there, right? We want to make sure it's actually doing something. Most of the time it's good, just sometimes we just kind of make it sit there when it wasn't accomplishing anything at all. Jump, keep on working on jump. I mean, like it honestly was looking a lot more smooth, but sometimes where we would still leap too far past when we meant the short jump, or we, yeah, things like that, etc. Right? Or we short jump and maybe we could have long jump, that sort of idea. Overall though, probably like a low to medium priority, not a very big deal with those. Your ult, probably say that we were just keep on, again, it looks much better, but keep on working on it. Work on making sure you're juggling people right, as well as the timing with it. Make sure that you are ulting when there's actually people to be ulting, and that you're focusing the right targets, because sometimes what we would do, the issue that we would run into is that we would use Primal, right? And then what we do is the fight is happening over here, and their whole team is over here, and then we take Primal and we go for that one person on this side of the map. We'd kill this person, but then we would waste the other 3/4 of Primal getting back to the fight. Right, so consider that sometimes when we're thinking about using primals, that like sometimes it might be worth it to stick in the fight to potentially get more kills than that one single kill, right? But overall, probably like a low to medium priority for you to work on. Mechanics isn't an issue on Monkey, and we didn't talk too much about it on Zarya, though potentially do need to, we didn't have a ton of time on Zarya. Then besides that, over to your positioning. Trying to think. Positioning, yeah, just make sure we're maintaining that, like holding that choke, making sure that we are not, trying to think. Yeah, just using cover, just kind of some of the more the generics. Like in general, it was just a lot of odds and ends here and there, efficiency things that we talked about this session, especially within that first, the first half was going over that first recording, where that was pretty much all we did. With Primal, I remembered one more thing, was just like, remember just making sure not using it in between fights. I remember one fight where we did that. Besides that, yeah, positioning, not a whole lot, low to medium, and then finally we get to awareness. Awareness probably was a little bit higher for things to worry about, like paying attention to just what's happening to our surroundings, what's happening in kill feed, what's happening with my HUD, what's my health bar like, what's, making sure we're not going in without our abilities, paying attention to where's our team at, so we're not engaging without our team, and we're not staying on point without our team. Yeah, that was another thing where we just cover usage was just making sure we're using cover, right? Thinking. Besides that, make sure that, yeah, I was just paying attention to our surroundings, right? All those things that come within that. I think that second game that you were playing in wasn't necessarily that you were playing bad. I think that it was just their team was playing really good and your team maybe wasn't, and that happens. So
Yeah.
overall, like I said, it's just this session a lot of here and there efficiency things. Over on Zarya, let's see, we bubble usage, just make sure we're bubbling when people are actually looking and shooting at us. Overall, that was maybe a little bit higher than our monkey, like maybe a medium priority. And then, besides that, ult usage, we only talked about one ult, right? And it was just throw it better, right? On the focus the squishy targets. Oh, that was a big thing we talked about with the mechanics. I forgot to mention, was target priority. There's actually a lot of target priority where making sure you're actually shooting at the easy things to kill, right? Not the hard things to kill, unless the situation comes up where they're out of position or low, or the only thing you can shoot at. So, in general, focus those easy things to kill. And then that was probably one of the bigger ones, probably like a high end of medium for you to work on. And then your ultimate on Zarya was really the only thing was just throw it behind them to get all three, right? And then that's about it, right? Overall, it's just probably number one was just the target priority. And then besides that, all of the rest are just kind of hovering around the that low to medium mark of wanting some work. Zarya, your bubble usage was a little bit higher, but everything else besides that was just hovering on that low to medium. I think awareness was actually a medium as well. So awareness is a medium. So again, to put that in order, it's target priority, awareness, Zarya bubbles, and then everything else is just kind of after that. So that is about it. Do you have any questions about anything?
I'm trying to think of questions about Zarya. Like, well, this is a general tip. How do I get better at tracking?
In general, when you're practicing tracking, firstly, my question would be, do you do any warm-ups before you play?
I play two quick plays or three just to like get my muscle memory down.
So,
Like,
when you're playing Monkey or when you're playing Zarya?
um, I usually just play Monkey, to be honest.
Okay, so for Monkey, you honestly don't even need that long of a warm-up. You might be better, like, if you're going and playing in comp, it's better that you get that comp playtime in. I don't know if we talked about that before, if that was with somebody else. But you don't necessarily need that much time to be warming up, because the main thing that you're warming up for is your mechanics, your muscles, because your those will deteriorate the fastest. Not necessarily just your ability to know what to do, though usually that does take, you might want a game to get that into the groove of things. The big thing is your mechanics that needs to get warmed up. So you don't necessarily need 2 to 3 quick plays to do that. On Monkey, honestly, you could just hop straight into comp without even needing a warm up, because Monkey doesn't have mechanics that needs to be warmed up. Now, if you do want to warm up jumping mechanics or to anything of that sort, then I'd probably say like you go ahead with a quick play game. On a character like Zarya and you're working on tracking, I'd probably say the biggest thing that you could do for that is go into a tried free for all. It's a custom game mode that you can do, and then the idea behind that is it's very there's no objectives, there's no teammates, it's just you and your duels and your mechanics, and then that allows you to practice it very easily. You can use the warm up as well as practice your general aiming. And then that will help you to improve your aim as you just play against other people and duel other people. You don't necessarily need to play Zarya, because Zarya, you're not really going to be getting a lot of energy in a death match. But if you play other tracking characters, such as, like, let's say Soldier, Soldier has tracking in a very similar sense to Zarya's tracking. So if you go and practice Soldier, that can help you with the mechanics of Zarya's tracking within it. Or you could just pick Zarya and try out Zarya as well. But that just helps you get into the groove of things as you're warming up. Does that kind of make sense to answering that question?
Yeah, I do. I made the transition from console to PC in June 2020, July 2020, I like to say. So I'm just making the transfer, and but
okay. So
yeah.
another question would be, what is your current sensitivity in DPI?
DPI?
We all got it coming.
Let me check right now. It's on. I have. I think for my lowest, it's either 300 or 400, and my sensitivity is like 30.
So you say what do you mean your lowest? As in like you swap between different ones?
Uh, oh, my first is my lowest is 300, but for monkey I use 400.
Okay, so when
My
you swap,
DPI.
them, you swap those DPIs up. Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
usually I keep the 400 DPI, like the higher sensitivity on monkey, because I don't really need aim. But when I'm playing a character like Zarya or like Sig or
Okay.
whoever that requires aiming,
And then you
I keep
said
monkey.
okay, and then you said you have a 30 sensitivity?
Yes.
Okay, so your DPI I would consider, I wouldn't say it's too insane, but it is on the higher end of sensitivities. You have a on that lower that 300 DPI, you have an EDPI, which is your sensitivity times your DPI of 9,000. For comparison, mine is 3,600. So I would say that you're in the kind of lower end of high sensitivities. Whereas in general, if you're playing characters that require mechanics, such as a character like Zarya, who needs to track, which you don't need to hit headshots, so you don't need as low of a sense. But like in general, most of the gaming community agrees that lower sensitivities are gonna be better for that tracking, especially if you're hitting headshots. Like I said on Zarya, not as big of a deal. If you wanted to lower it like slightly, that might help a little bit with your Zarya mechanics, because that is a little bit high. Gives you more control over your movement and whatnot. But if you don't want to worry about it, it shouldn't be a massive issue. Yeah, and then if you do decide to lower your sensitivity a little bit, then you would just need to make sure you have a mouse pad that is large enough to support it. Otherwise, you're not gonna have any room to work with on your mouse pad.
Right. I got you.
All right. So
I'm,
no other questions or any other questions?
Double kill.
I got nothing.
Double
All right. So then let's see. I'm gonna stop that recording there.